Today, you can look at people from different parts of the world and see something obvious. Human beings do not all look the same. Some people have very dark skin, some people have very light skin, and most people are somewhere in between. For most of history, people explain this badly. They make up myths, they built social systems around it, they turn skin color into identity, status, race, and power. But biologically, the real reason is much simpler and much older. Human skin color was not random, it was not an accident, it was shaped by sunlight. For hundreds of thousands of years, the sun was not just something in the sky, it was pressure, it was danger, it was medicine. It was a force strong enough to change the human body, and the color of your skin is one of the clearest records of where your ancestors lived and how much sunlight their bodies had to survive. The story starts in Africa. Long before cities, countries, languages, or written history, our ancestors lived under intense sunlight. Near the equator, ultraviolet radiation from the sun is extremely strong. And that sunlight does two opposite things to the human body. It can help you, and it can hurt you. That is the entire key to understanding human skin color. The sun helps your body make vitamin D. Vitamin D matters for the bones, immune function, and overall health, but too much ultraviolet radiation can damage cells and break down folate, which is a B vitamin important for reproduction and early development. So the human body had a problem. It needed sunlight, but it also needed protection from sunlight, and the solution was melanin. Melanin is the pigment that gives skin hair and their eyes color. But melanin is not just decoration, it is a shield. It absorbs ultraviolet radiation before too much of it can damage the body. More melanin means darker skin, less means lighter skin, and in places with very strong sunlight, having more was a major advantage. It protected the body, it helped preserve folate, it reduced damage from intense UV radiation, so early humans in high sun environments evolved darker skin. Not because dark skin was better, in some universal way, but because in that environment it worked. It was protection, it was survival. But then humans moved. This is where the story changes. As groups of humans migrated out of Africa and to other parts of the world, they entered places where sunlight was weaker. Further from the equator, especially in northern regions, the sun hits the earth at a lower angle. UV radiation becomes less intense, winters are longer, days can be shorter, cloud cover can be heavier, and suddenly the same dark skin that protected people near the equator created a new problem. It blocked too much sunlight. That matters because the body needs UV light to make vitamin D. In a low sun environment, too much melanin could make it harder to produce enough vitamin D. And vitamin D is not optional. Without enough of it, bones can weaken, children can develop bone problems, pregnancy can become riskier, health can suffer. So in places with weaker sunlight, natural selection began pushing in the opposite direction. Skin with less melanin allowed more UV light to enter. That made vitamin D production easier, and over thousands of years, lighter skin became more common in some populations living far from the equator. This is the part that makes human skin color so interesting. It's not just about one color being better, it's about trade-offs. Dark skin is better protection in strong sunlight, light skin is better at allowing vitamin D production in weak sunlight. The body was balancing two dangers, too much sun and not enough sun. Too much UV can damage the body, too little UV can starve the body of vitamin D. Skin color evolved in the middle of that balancing act. That is why human skin color tends to follow geography. Closer to the equator, where UV radiation is strongest, indigenous populations historically tended to have darker skin. Further from the equator, where UV radiation is weaker, lighter skin became more common. But it was never perfectly simple because humans did not stand still and let sun decide everything. People migrated, mixed, adapted, changed diets, wore clothing, built shelters, created culture, and culture can change biology's rules. For example, if people in a low sun environment eat a diet rich in vitamin D, like fatty fish for example, they may not need skin to lighten as much. If people cover their skin with clothing that changes how much sunlight reaches the body, and if people quickly move to a new region, their skin color may not perfectly match the sunlight there. This is why skin color is not a perfect map. It is a history, a messy history of sunlight, migration, food, culture, and survival. And there is something else people often get wrong. Skin color did not evolve one time in one straight line. It changed in different places, in different ways, at different times. Lighter skin evolved more than once. Darker pigmentation remained important in high UV environments. Different populations reached similar solutions through different genetic paths. Human variation is not a ladder. It is not one group becoming another group, it is adaptation, local environments leaving marks on the body. This is why the idea of race does such a bad job explaining biology. Skin color is real, genetic variation is real, but the sharp racial categories people use socially do not match clean biological boxes. Human variation changes gradually across geography. One population blends into another, traits overlap, people move, genes mix, and skin color is only one tiny part of human genetic diversity. Two people with similar skin tones can be genetically very different. Two people with different skin tones can still be closely related in the deeper human story, because all humans share the same recent origin. We are all one species, one branch, one strange primate that spread across the planet and adapted to different skies. That is the bigger story. Skin color is not proof that humans are deeply separate, it is proof that humans are deeply connected to the environments they lived in. The sun touched our ancestors, generation after generation, until our bodies carried the memory of that sunlight. But this memory is not permanent. Skin can still respond to sunlight today. That is what tanning is. When your skin is exposed to UV radiation, your body can produce more melanin to help protect itself. A tan is not cosmetic change, it's your body reacting to radiation. It's your skin saying, there is more sun here than usual, we need more protection. But tanning is temporary. Evolutionary skin color is different. That is the result of inherited genetic changes built up over many generations. One is a short-term response, the other is a long-term adaptation, and this is what makes the whole thing kind of amazing. The color of human skin is both personal and ancient. It is something people see immediately, but most do not understand. It is on the surface, but the story behind it goes deep into evolution, into migration, into survival, into the first humans walking across open landscapes under a sun that could both save them and harm them. At some point, our ancestors lost much of their body hair. That made sweating more effective and helped the body cool down, especially while moving long distances in hot environments. But losing hair exposed more skin directly to the sun. That made protection more important, so darker pigmentation became part of human survival packages. Sweat helped cool the body, melanin helped shield the skin. Together, they helped humans survive under intense sunlight. Then later, as humans spread into colder, dimmer regions, the problem flipped. Protection was still useful, but sunlight became harder to get, so lighter pigmentation helped some populations absorb enough UV to produce vitamin D. Again, not better, not worse, just fitted to different environments. That is what evolution does. It does not create perfect bodies, it creates bodies that are good enough for specific conditions. Change the conditions and the advantage can change too. A trait that helps in one place can hurt in another. A trait that protects under one sky can limit you in another. Skin color is one of the clearest examples of that. It is evolution written in color. But then modern life complicated everything. Today, people live everywhere. Dark-skinned people live in low sun regions, light-skinned people live in high sun regions. People travel, move, immigrate, work indoors, wear sunscreen, take vitamins, use artificial light, spend less time outside than almost any humans before us. Our ancient adaptations now exist in a world they were not designed for. That is why the same skin color can create different health concerns in different environments. Darker skin can be more vulnerable to vitamin D deficiency in places with weak sunlight, especially if someone spends most of their time indoors. Lighter skin can be more vulnerable to sun damage in places with intense UV radiation. This does not mean one skin color is healthier, it means skin evolved for environments and modern humans move faster than evolution can keep up. In the past, your skin color was shaped slowly by the sunlight your ancestors lived under. Today, you could fly across the planet in a day. Your body carries one history while your environment might tell a completely different story. And maybe that is the most important part. Skin color is not a ranking, it is not a measure of worth, it is not a sign of intelligence, it is not a sign of character, It is not the deep divider humans have pretended it is. It is sunlight, biology, migration, and time. A natural record of how different human groups survived under different parts of the sky. So why do humans have different skin colors? Because our ancestors lived under different suns. Because the body needed to protect folate without blocking too much vitamin D. Because melanin acted like sunscreen. Because migration changed the amount of UV different people experienced. Because evolution kept adjusting the balance between protection and absorption. And because humans, more than almost any other animal, spread into nearly every environment on Earth. From equatorial sunlight to northern winters, from open savannas to cloudy coastlines, from deserts to mountains to forests to cities. Everywhere we went, the sun was waiting, and over time, our skin remembered it. That is the real story behind human skin color. Not separation, adaptation, not categories, continuity, not different kinds of humans, the same human species living under different skies for long enough that the sky left a mark.